Creating a quick text overlay. To start, we want, of course, open Unity. In a project over in the hierarchy view, we want to add a new game object. In this case, because it is a text overlay, we want to add a new text object. Because this is Unity, there are always two different approaches to creating new game objects. We can either click on the plus dropdown and select UI text, or right-click within the hierarchy view and, of course, go to UI text. Once it's added, Unity will automatically add a canvas game object and create the text game object as a child of that game object. It will also add an event system game object to allow us to keep track of various events that may happen with the text and other UI elements we may add to the project. So right here, selecting the text, notice it lists its components over here in the inspector view. And we can see if we select the game view in the middle of the screen, we see the text is in the bottom left-hand corner. So if we move over to scene and we either right click and drag or use the hand tool to left click and drag, we can see new text is selected right here. Select new text. Then we can either zoom out or using the rect tool, select new text, make it smaller, select hand tool, drag this over, select rect, find it using left click, and of course drag it around. And these are the various tools we can use to optimize where the placement is within the game scene right here, moving around this until we have the placement we want. So, okay. We have the text we want. We've created a text game object. Now this needs to be a quick overlay. We want to show some text and then we want it to disappear after a few seconds. We can do that pretty quickly by adding a new script component and then using the destruct method as part of that scripting component. So with text selected over in the hierarchy view, we want to move over to inspector view, the list of components. We're going to add a new scripting component. So down here in add component in the inspector view, scroll all the way down to the bottom, new script, click on this. And then if we can't get access to change this name on the keyboard, if we press the arrow down or left or right twice or down, whenever moves from the search to the script name, we can add this. I will call this destroy script because this will very quickly destroy it, which will make sense when we move into it in just a moment. But we can go ahead and click on create and add to add this scripting component. Now notice it's added script right here in parentheses, script component, what this file is. The file it is associated with was added under the project view right here as a C# file. If I double click on this, it will open it up in Visual Studio and allow me to edit the file. Now to create this quick text overlay, what we want to do is we want to, when it starts and the rendering system starts going, we want it to, after a few seconds, go ahead and destroy this text object. So we'll show it initially and then it will be destroyed about 2 seconds later. So we can do that using the destroy method. Literally capital D because it is a method, destroy, because it is a method, open and closing parentheses. What do we want to destroy? We want to destroy game object, lowercase g, game object. When do we want it to happen? 2 seconds after this starts. Notice under here, the IntelliSense has given me the name of this, and it says, okay, for this version of it, remove a game object, component, or asset, T optional, a float, the amount of time to delay before destroying the object. So 2 seconds for us, and a semicolon after that to finish that line. So what are we destroying? So remember, the scripting component is a component that's part of an entity, the game object. So when the component starts up, it's given a reference to the game object it is associated with as a property of itself called game object, lowercase g in this case. So this is a scripting component. It is associated with a game object. The game object is associated with is for us a text game object. Using the destroy method here, we say, okay, find the thing you are associated with. 2 seconds after you start, go ahead and destroy it. So I'm going to save this file. So for me, Control S, or I could have also gone to File, Save, Asset as well. And once it's saved, I want to go back to Unity. When I reopen Unity back up, we will allow it to sort of catch back up if it hasn't. Now, if I click on this right here, notice we've got destroy script, which is its name. Destroy script matches this file over here. I'm going to go ahead and save this project. So previous to like using Visual Studio, I can also go to File, Save, Project, or I can also press Control S in Windows, and it will ask me, do I want to confirm to save this? And I'm not going to right now, but I could do that. So I'm going to go ahead and play this so we can see it in action. Using the little play icon at the very top in the middle, I'm going to click play. Give it just a moment. We see new text. 2 seconds later, it was destroyed. We can verify this by looking over in the hierarchy view. So if we click play again, it will restart. Notice text exists. If we click play and we watch over in the hierarchy view, once it loads, 1, 2, and it disappears. So this has been a review of how to create a quick text overlay. We started with, in my case, starting with an empty Unity project, but we could have started with an existing project. Then we went in and created a text game object using either the plus down menu or right-clicking and go to UI text. Then I moved the text object around to get it the position I wanted, just to verify it was where I wanted it to be. Then with the text object selected, I went over to the inspector view, went down to add component, scroll down to new script, then using the arrow keys, pressing either down twice or right twice to make sure I could select the name. I gave it the name to describe what it does. In this case, destroy script over here. Then once it was created, I double clicked on it inside the project view to open it in Visual Studio. Moving over to Visual Studio, in the start method of this game object, I called the destroy method. This removes a game object component or asset. I gave it a property game object. So the game object this component is associated with. And then when to do it, 2 seconds after it starts. So when this whole thing starts up, the scripting component will be called, its start method will be called, destroy will be triggered. 2 seconds after that, the scripting component will destroy the game object it is associated with. And then as we saw in Unity, checking both on the game preview and within the hierarchy view, we saw the text game object was removed 2 seconds later.